Hello and welcome to Orb Team Brick. Now today's video you can already see we've launched, and with this, it's inspired by recent events. And this is my recreation of I Am 1, Native Machines 1, the landing of the Nova Sea lander Odysseus that took place on the 22nd, which was just 3 days ago. And so yes, it's a recreation of a recent mission, which I'm just gonna say there were some issues with, partly because of my lack of skill at this game that I've somehow managed to play for 2,000 hours, and that I'm doing this in KSP 2, which is bound to cause issues. So I've managed to not talk about the actual ascent, which it's pretty standard on a Falcon 9 recreation, which to me, it looked a bit off, but the Delta V numbers and the actual dimensions of it seemed to work out to be about approximate to real life. However, I did have to use vector engines on the first stage, as more accurate engines didn't work. But the first stage is gone. I do not have the skill nor the patience to actually land it, so yeah, no landing unfortunately, sorry about that. But we can go on with our second stage burn, and do a not realistic but more efficient descent to our parking orbit. And for the real mission, it launched on February 15th, 2024, and of course was on a Falcon 9. And this was part of the Commercial Lunar Payload Services, a program by NASA to basically have a commercial enterprise be able to land payloads on the moon. And so yeah, this is the Nova Sea lander by Native Machines, and well, so the mission was mostly successful. And I'll talk about the mostly part when I get to recreating that, because you bet I will recreate that. So as I plotted my transmuter injection, and are currently doing the burn, and KSP2 being KSP2, the Delta V meter on the maneuver is not functioning properly. It doesn't see that we're burning fuel and it's jumping around, and I have no idea what it was doing. But we got there in the end, and since the aerial lander landed near the lunar South Pole, I'm going to target a polar lunar orbit so we can also land at the South Pole. Now talking again about the aerial lander, which I'm sure my model of it will come on screen soon enough. Yeah, it carried various scientific and other payloads, and it was mainly just a demonstration of the ability for a private company to land on the moon. And this mission is not only notable because it was the first private lunar lander, but also was the first US-built lunar lander to land on the moon successfully for over 50 years. And also was the first lunar lander to use cryogenic propellants. So now we've entered into orbit, which I realize I should have detached the Falcon 9 second stage once we completed our transmuter injection. Oh, for some reason Delta V never worked out, because my lander, as you can see there, for some reason it has significantly less Delta V than the real one. I already had to clip a bunch of fuel tanks into it. So yeah, I used the second stage, or not only our transmuter injection, but also our correction burn and part of our orbital insertion. Now we're lowering into a lower orbit, and at some point I've probably shown a actual image of the lander and comparing it to my model, and you can decide for yourself how accurate it ended up being. So now we can do our course corrections towards our landing site and start our powered descent. I was aiming for this one crater, but then decided to go for a different crater, which we're currently over. I probably should mention this, but this is a 2.5 times the scale of the solar system, using I don't remember the actual mod. I bet you can just find it pretty easily on the forums. You saw I couldn't deploy my landing gear for some reason, so quick save and quick load. But yes, now we're at our landing. And it's a pretty standard landing in terms of this technique and procedure. Over. So, I decided that to mimic real life, there's gonna be a communications blackout right after we land. In real life, this was, I believe, it was expected to be 2 minutes, and I don't actually remember how long it lasted, how long it ended up lasting. But yeah, we're not gonna immediately know what happened to Lander. So we're descending, and communications blackout, and oh, yeah, it's kind of on its side. Yeah, it ended up happening that for some reason it got caught on a large boulder and came to rest on its side, propped up by another large boulder. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I want to thank you for watching, because I can subscribe, and goodbye.